Smoke, smoke, smoke.
Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I smoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down. Bitch, you ain't no Barbie, I see you work at Arby's. Never too supersized, hurry up, I'm starving. Gnarly, radical, on the block I'm magical. See me at your college campus, baggy full of Adderalls. Call me if you need a fix, call me if you need a boost. See them other chicken heads, they don't ever leave the coop. I'm in the coop cruising, I got the stolen plates, serving all the fiends over there by the Golden Gate. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis. Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I smoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down.
Smoke, smoke,
Do you agree that there's no such thing as racism, sexism, homophobism, Islamophobism, deadbeat dadism, white supremacism, and all the other isms? Destiny, that's a woman's name. You were raised by your daddy and mama. That makes you half man and half woman. You are a beta. You're not a real man, beta. I just have one question for ya, beta. There's just one thing I want to know. Destiny, do you love all people? Do you really love the blacks? Destiny, do you love black people? Why can't you just answer the question? Destiny, do you love all people?
systems, the company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderous scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green-looking skin, and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions upon it, people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Just watching my algorithms get crushed. I guess I did something to piss off the Instagram gods, so hopefully you're seeing this stuff anyway. We'll do what we can.
This is my message to the Instagram gods, crushing Don Jr.'s algorithm. Yeah, you've been caught. You think this actual 10-second clip of him attempting to face the camera toward him is worth only 250,000 views? How dare you? How dare you? Pictures of Don Jr. above my bed, and now every night I fall asleep with him in my head. I dream he takes me to the skate park and teaches me how to ride. I dream he let me do the monkey bars while holding on to my side. I dream that fell on my skateboard and he gave me a bandage. I dreamed I was hungry and he made me a sandwich. I dreamed we stayed up all night learning TikTok dances with Ron DeSantis. I dreamed we hunted Hunter Biden, shoved him in a locker, asked him how it felt to just be known for his famous father. Isn't it pathetic, oh, isn't it a shame to have no remnant of identity outside your father's name? When you look down at your hands, uncalloused and cold, can't you see all that you hold has been handed to you? And does that make you feel small, Hunter? Do you ever look back at your life and sob? 38 years in your younger sister's shadow, crying, Daddy, please love me. Daddy, please see me. Dad, won't you love me? Dad, can't you see me? Daddy, please love me. Daddy, please see me. Dad, won't you love me? Dad, can't you see me? We pulled him out of the locker and we gave him a swirly. My alarm went off and then I voted early, so should you.
Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
I said certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P word. Make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you've got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up, N-word, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top if I wanna ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P word is wet, come take a dive. And continue along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar.
Hey, Pokey, wanna come out here? I'm built differently, I'm built differently, I'm built differently, I'm built differently. You don't wanna smoke, so ask for the chicken. I just made a big bag, I just bought a Bentley. Always on your mind, I be living rent free. The girl wanna fuck, even though she just met me. I'm built differently, I'm built differently, I'm built differently, I'm built differently. Wake up in the morning and I had to take a big pee. Only thing I know how to cook is spaghetti. Met that bitch once and she never forget me. I'm built differently, I'm built differently, I'm built differently, I'm built differently, I'm built differently. Hey, this is my dick. I barely knew her. I go real fast on my scooter. Scared to have a gun, yeah, but I shoot her with my dick. I'm a coomer, wow. Where the fuck is Mario? I've been looking all night. I've been searching on computer. I'm built differently. Yeah. I'm built differently. 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 I'm built differently.
I don't even know anymore. Why am I here? What? Yo!
Goodbye, everyone. I have to go now. I must have to go now. I have to go. I have to leave this song, yeah. Okay, goodbye now. I'm built differently, 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 I'm built differently.
Yeah, let's go chat. Another Be Weird broadcast. It's fucking Saturday. Let's go. How you doing? Hope you got some caffeine, got some sunlight, got some rest. I'm doing all right. Website design is going good. A friend of mine's getting into the business too. I just want to party. Gonna go see some jazz tonight. Yeah. It's gonna be a good stream. Got all sorts of good shit lined up. Good content. And I'm starting early. Whoa. Done. Done. That website was the end. The last 10%. So I'm so much more relaxed. Nice 4-day weekend. So I'm streaming, going to see some jazz, get some good food. Friend of mine's doing some poetry. Yeah. It's actually kind of warm. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good fucking weekend. I'm feeling it. We starting off our streams with the good vibes, and yeah, I think it's been good. I've been actually sleeping more or less, which is nice, and yeah, I don't know. Got that good raid from Heem. That was fun. And yeah, yesterday's stream was really lovely. It was really great. It was nice and long because people were hanging around, and even got some Elden Ring in there. And I'm crushing it. I think I'm like getting close to the end of the game. Getting really close. So yeah. And as far as oh jeez, 1 sec. It's so loud. Okay, there we go. So loud. Yeah, I mean, gaming's going good. I gotta work on my music and my poetry at some point this weekend. Maybe clean a little bit, catch up on all the chaos and disaster that piles up when you're trying to like get things done. Meanwhile, I used to show up to finals where the prof is like, this is gonna be 2 questions in 1 hour, and 4 hours later he's ripping this excessively long final from our cold dead hands. Oh gosh, oh god. I do not. The thing that's nice about at least being in a master's program is there's way more work, but like it's all in your control. Like it's all pretty much like, you don't have to go to some weird room with like 300 other students, like a psych exam. I mean, like cramming and like, oh god, I'm hungry. What energy food did I bring? How many peas did I schedule? Yeah, I do not miss fucking mass exams. They were honestly the worst. 3-hour exams. Engineering. Oh boy, yeah. What sort? Refresh my memory. My buddy just got his ring, so I'm pretty proud of him. He's officially a pang. He's a penguin. But yeah, engineering is pretty rough. There's a reason the students at Queen's climb a giant greased pole, because I think that's it's to simulate how difficult the course is going to be. Just like, yeah, all that science you have to learn. Golly gee. But okay, let's man, someone was supposed to proctor our stats midterm and he didn't show. He was getting a snack. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, these universities have had like fucking, oh god, people who have masters and business degrees and have just like started figuring out, how do we monetize all of this? And there's no room to be human. Industrial and doing psych, but I left uni like a year and a half ago. Yeah, I don't blame you. Since pandemic hit, it's really hard to keep sane and like keep that level of productivity. That's just expected. It's just like expected of our generation. Just like, yeah, just 50, 60-hour weeks for 30 years until you die, you know, like, let's go. You can do it. All right, we're gonna check out what's going on with America. The plot against America thickens. Things are getting very spicy, very, very quick. So I'm really I'm gearing up for the January 6th. Yeah, you're a truck driver. I guess that's what you've been doing to fill in the gap. Yeah, that's fair. So the trucker convoy really touched a nerve, of course. But especially with that context of leaving university for it. But yeah, we're going to focus on just sort of every drib and drab we're getting from the January 6th Commission, because when it goes full public hearings, I want to be there. I want to make sure my audience is like knows what's going on, why this is important. And it's been really fun to watch to watch Republicans get stuck, get caught, you know, with their dick in their hands. Like they're absolutely getting caught with their pants down. It's great. It's hilarious. So let's dial in on that. Sweet. So according to even the Republican judges are like, man, maybe this is not a good situation. Here, I'm just gonna move that over, turn it down. So yeah, January 6th committee continues to debate if they want to issue a criminal referral against former President Donald Trump. So because it's like, yeah, they got to send it over to the executive, which is actually able to follow up on criminal charges. The January 6th commission is like in the legislature, so they can't really do criminal charges. I think historically they can. They just have to assert that power, but normally you send it over to the Department of Justice, and then the Department of Justice assesses, makes its own investigation, takes that into account. So yeah, we got some like weird background music. Trump could possibly face civil and criminal charges as the panel focuses on his role on January 6th in an attempt to overturn the election. A referral does not hold legal weight. Yeah, but it would allow Congress to inform the DOJ of criminal conduct. And that would push Attorney General Merrick Garland to open a criminal investigation. Liz Cheney, who's was ousted from the party, has said that there's enough evidence for a referral. And the panel has already suggested Trump and his associates engaged in criminal behavior, in a criminal conspiracy. Yeah, exactly. Quote, oh, Jesus. To prevent the certification of Biden, committee also expressed frustration that the DOJ and Garland haven't moved fast enough to charge Trump's inner circle with contempt. After the panel referred them for refusing to comply with subpoenas. Even so, that's a lot of information. But they are like, hey, you hand over some documents, Trump's inner circle, and they're like, no, fuck you. And so they're like, okay, here's a legal document forcing you to give it to us. And they're like, no, fuck you. And so now it's like, well, we can't charge them with a crime, but clearly a crime is being committed. DOJ, you want to do anything about it? Anything at all? So businesses are under investigation, of course, and he may face charges in Georgia for asking for 11,000, a specific number of votes, for election interference. So yeah, this is, he done been criming. So a federal judge first appointed and promoted by Republican presidents slammed former President Donald Trump after a jury found a January 6, 2021 Capitol riot defendant guilty this week. Judge Reggie Walton, the senior U.S. District Judge for the District of Columbia, was first appointed, yada yada yada, by Ronald Reagan, later appointed to District Court by Bush in 2001. Longtime federal judge oversaw the trial of Capitol rioter Dustin Thompson, 38, of Ohio. Thompson was found guilty of all charges by a grand jury on Thursday after he was captured by surveillance cameras during the riot, carrying a coat rack and a bottle of bourbon that he stole from the Senate parliamentarian's office. My guy caught a federal crime over some bourbon and a fucking coat rack. That is low rent. Oh my goodness. Quote, I think our democracy is in trouble, Walton said at the conclusion of the trial, because unfortunately we have charlatans like our former president who doesn't, in my view, really care about democracy, but only about power. And as a result of that, it's tearing this country apart. Walton described the pro-Trump violence targeting the federal government on January 6th as an insurgency. Quote, I have a concern that we have, unfortunately, American citizens who are so gullible that they were willing to accept what was being said without any proof that the allegations about the election had any merit whatsoever, the judge warned. People are just outraged at how they feel our system is not taking seriously what happened on that day because of their fear of the future of this country. That weapon choice? Yeah, I don't know if it was weapon choice or he's stealing it. Like, I think it's for theft. It's like, man, this fucking coat rack is bussin'. Ooh, I could get all my coats on that. That he stole from the Senate parliamentarian's office. Yeah. He stole some bourbon and a coat rack. My guy. Hundreds of Trump's supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol a little more than 15 months ago in an apparent effort to disrupt the formal certification. Trump told them to fight like hell, yada, yada, yada. This is all backstory that we know. Okay, moving on. So that's all kind of preamble for this CNN exclusive. Sorry, my mouse is bugging out hard of late. Everything's breaking generally. So many, my mic stand's still broken. Oh man, come on. Okay, there we go. CNN exclusive. Quote. Man, you just love these quotes. You just love to see it. We need ammo. We need fraud examples. We need it this weekend. Quote, end quote. What the Meadows text reveal about how two Trump congressional allies lobbied the White House to overturn the election. Yikes, everybody. This is what happens with conspiracies. Like, the web widens and more people get caught in like the investigation. Play.
Senator Mike Lee of Utah and Congressman Chip Roy of Texas, two of former President Donald Trump's most loyal defenders in Congress. But in dozens of private texts to Trump's Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, a picture emerges of how both went from aiding the effort to challenge the election results to ultimately warning against it. The texts, obtained by CNN, show how they were trying to help initially, but by the end, raised concerns to Trump's top deputy about his campaign's effort to stand in the way of the certification of the 2020 election. We're driving a stake in the heart of the federal republic,
Yikes.
Roy warned Meadows in a text message on January 1st that is in
Yikes.
possession of the January 6th Select Committee.
All my friends here in the
His stark warning came after weeks of begging Meadows for hard evidence of election fraud.
Do they think they're fighting vampires? How about that weapon choice? A stake? They're calling the deep state vampires now? Is that what we're going with? Is this because of the adrenochrome conspiracy theories? I don't even follow anymore. How, like, which types of good people they think they are. GOP think they're a bunch of fucking vampire hunters now? Like, what the fuck?
And concerns that the lack of specific evidence was a real problem for the Trump legal team. We must urge the president to tone down the rhetoric, he wrote to Meadows on November 9th.
Why is the Attorney General?
Roy did believe that there were problems with the election. In early December, he went to the House floor, imploring his colleagues to look into the thin examples of fraud.
The American people are raising legitimate questions about our elections, and this body is missing in action and doing nothing.
December 9th.
Like Roy,
month
Senator Mike
before.
Lee started
No,
out hopeful that there was a path to challenge the election results. In early November, he touted the work of conservative lawyer Sidney Powell, encouraging Meadows to get her an audience with the president, calling her a, quote, straight shooter. But less than 2 weeks later, Powell appeared with Rudy Giuliani in what would become an...
We honestly tried to watch it, and it was so hard to, like, get yourself back in the headspace to watch this, because it was such a rambling, incoherent mess. You're really only tuning in once, like, his hair dye starts leaking down and he's just kind of like going on and on and on. It's what an odd moment. Still not the greatest Rudy Giuliani moment, but definitely top tier, definitely top 5.
Infamous press conference where the duo made wild, baseless claims about the election.
President Trump won by a landslide. We are going to prove it.
Lee then changed his tune, calling Powell a liability and turning his focus to touting attorney John Eastman. Lee pushed a plan to convince state...
And remember, Eastman was the one who, like, drew up the legal, what was it? Quote, a coup in search of a legal theory, as one judge described it. Like he had a PowerPoint presentation, like, here's how we could here's how we could do the coup. Oh, geez.
Legislatures to offer up a set of alternate electors. When that plan fizzled, Lee decided he was no longer on board. He texted Meadows on December 16th, quote, "I think we're now past the point where we can expect anyone will do it without some direction and a strong evidentiary argument." Both Lee and Roy ultimately chose not to join other Republicans to vote against certifying the election.
Our job is to open and then count. Open, then count. That's it. That's all there is.
Privately, they were even more emphatic about the fool's errand Trump's team was on. The president should call everyone off. It's the only path, Roy texted Meadows on December 31st. While Lee argued the effort was on dangerous constitutional ground. 3 days before January 6th, he warned, "I know only that this will end badly for the president unless we have the Constitution on our side." They did not. But the Trump team and a group of loyal Republicans went ahead with their plan anyway. As it became clear their effort would not be successful, hundreds of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol in protest.
Yikes, man.
As the violence was raging.
Like this stuff is so chaotic. Okay, so in the weeks between the 2020 election and the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, almost 100 text messages from two staunch GOP allies of then-President Donald Trump reveal an aggressive attempt to lobby, encourage, and eventually warn the White House over its efforts to overturn the election, according to messages obtained by the House Select Committee and reviewed by CNN. The texts, which have not been previously reported, were sent by Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah and Representative Chip Roy of Texas. That's a new name for me. Chip Roy. Who names their kid Chip? You called your kid Chip? Is that short for something? Like Chippendale or something? What a weird name. Chip Roy. Of Texas. So they were talking to Mark Meadows. We talked about Mark Meadows before. The text exchanges show that both members of Congress initially supported legal challenges to the election, but ultimately came to sour on the effort and the tactics deployed by Trump and his team. Quote, "We're driving a stake in the heart of the federal republic," Roy texted Meadows on January 1st. So I think he's saying this like as a cautionary thing. Like, yo, you guys need to dial it back. Weird. So it's such a strange mixed metaphor going on here, but it looks like he's on the good side. That text was first released in December by the House Select Committee and described as being written by a House Freedom Caucus member. Roy's authorship has not been previously reported. So before we just knew it was someone from the House Freedom Caucus. Now we know it's specifically Mike Lee, and that's the big story. When situated in the overall timeline of events between the election and January 6th, the series of texts from Lee and Roy provide new details about how two Trump allies went from fierce advocates of the former president's push to overturn Joe Biden's win to disheartened bystanders. Wow. So they had I think this is a story about Republicans growing a conscience. Holy shit. Whoa. By January 3, Mike Lee of all people, that's so funny. By January 3, Lee was texting Meadows that the effort, quote, could all backfire badly. But shortly after the election, both men were encouraging Trump to keep fighting. Oh, okay, so they're definitely still pieces of shit. Okay, cool. In a series of texts to Meadows on November 7th, Lee offered his, quote, unequivocal support for you to exhaust every legal and constitutional remedy at your disposal to restore Americans' faith in our elections. Lee went on, quote, "This fight is about the fundamental fairness and integrity of our election system. The nation is depending upon your continued resolve. Stay strong and keep fighting, Mr. President." Also on November 7th, Roy wrote to Meadows, quote, "We need ammo. We need fraud examples. We need it this weekend." Yikes. In a statement to CNN, Lee's communications director, Lee Lonsberry. Wait, Mike Lee's communications director, their name is Lee Lonsberry. What is this? Lee's communications director, Lee Lonsberry. Okay, all right. Said, Quote, I'd like to highlight that Senator Lee has been fully transparent, pointing to how Lee had called for an investigation into claims of fraud in the 2020 election, but ultimately recognized Biden as president-elect and voted to certify the electoral results on January 6th. So Mike Lee is officially one of the good Republicans, we can say, with major asterisks. Roy Communications Director Nate Madden told CNN the text messages, quote, speak for themselves. In a tweet on Friday, Roy wrote, quote, been off social media this Good Friday, but apparently there's quite a stir. I'll say this once. No apologies for my private texts or public positions to those on the left or right. I stand behind seeking truth, fighting nonsense, and then acting in defense of the Constitution. Okay, buddy. An attorney for Meadows did not respond to CNN's request for comment. A spokesperson for the select committee declined to comment. A source familiar with the committee's work tells CNN that Lee's texts, quote, reflect he was a cheerleader before he was against it. He uses legal language to push blatant conspiracy theories into the Trump orbit. Can you help her get in? Over a few days in November, Lee lobbied Meadows to get Sidney Powell access to Trump. Okay, so yeah, this is the story that we got in the video. So we'll move on. So Mike Lee is officially caught up. We know it's him. Here's George Conway. We don't totally care about his opinion, just because he's married to...
I want to bring in George Conway, attorney.
He's married to Kellyanne Conway, and they got like this weird kind of grift going on. So I don't totally trust George Conway. He's, so take this with a grain of salt. Plus, this is on CNN, so take it with another grain of salt.
Contributing columnist for the Washington Post. George, what do you think?
It's a remarkable chronology, and I think the key to it, key to its significance, is the contrast with Trump's behavior. The judge in California who said that Donald Trump likely committed crimes pointed out all the evidence that was presented to Trump or available to Trump that he should have known that there was no fraud sufficient to overturn the election. And what you see with these texts is a remarkable chronology of in real time of them wanting to find evidence of fraud, and then not hearing any from Giuliani and Sidney Powell, and of all the cases they lost, 60 plus in federal state courts throughout the country. And they came to the conclusion that there was no constitutional way to overturn this election. And yet Donald Trump persisted.
These two members, Lee and Roy, Senator Lee and Representative Roy, basically said...
That's kind of the fun part of like when there's a massive mystery, like a conspiracy or something, is that everybody wants to kind of like get in on it and reconstruct the timeline, figure out what happened, who knew what and when. And we're like almost a year out. We're like more than 6 months and still like learning new information. This is diabolical. I can't believe these people haven't been like arrested or anything or charged or indicted. It's wild.
Help me help you.
Right.
Help me help you. But then over time, they realized there was, in their words, there was no help there. Just look at the evolution from Chip Roy here. This was a text right after the election. He goes, we need ammo. We need fraud examples. But then later he's saying the president should never have spun up certain Americans to believe something that simply cannot be true. He never got the ammo.
Right. There was no there. And that's the point. That's the point that the judge in California is making about Donald Trump's probable intent, was he did not care whether or not there was evidence or not.
And again, let me just read more from Mike Lee here. He writes again, closer to January 6th, I only know that this will end badly for the president unless we have the Constitution on our side, and unless these states submit new slates of Trump electors pursuant to the state law, we do not. It never happened.
Yeah, so right now he is well aware that they don't have a legal leg to stand on. And Mark Meadows is receiving these texts from Mike Lee, who's like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this. And he's also receiving texts from Ginny Thomas like, you're so brave fighting for freedom. We'll, uproot the deep state. And Mark Meadows is like, yes, queen. So this guy right here, man, Mark Meadows is at the center of so much.
And he told them. I mean, this gets to state of mind and consciousness of guilt. Mark Meadows certainly knew.
Right. I mean, and he basically was saying this was a violation of the Constitution to proceed with trying to overturn the election, and that getting certificates from the states, if you didn't have those valid certificates of the states, that would be a violation of the Constitution. And yet Donald Trump on January 5 is trying to get Mike Pence, browbeating him, bullying him into trying to not count the valid electoral certificates that were signed and sealed and reflected the actual victory of Joe Biden.
Does this in any way hurt the former president in terms of whatever legal case he might face?
I think it should, because I think I think the contrast, whether it's specifically admissible into evidence, I'd say for another day, but I think overall it just illustrates the amount of evidence there is that should have been made, that probably was, and definitely was to some extent, made apparent to Trump that he lost. And there's...
Yeah, from what we understand, like, people were just like, hey, man, this is, you lost, you can't do this. And I think like, if I remember correctly, there was a lawyer who specifically advised John Eastman, and maybe that's where that quote comes from, which is like, this is a coup in search of a legal theory. And when you have that in writing, it's very much like a SIA, a cover your ass email from the lawyer being like noping out and saying, here's the law y'all are trying to break. Probably shouldn't do this. And so he covers his ass as a lawyer, and now we're gonna find that evidence eventually. And so yeah, Trump, from what I understand, was very much aware before January 6th that this is a wrong and bad thing to do.
You know, so much other evidence. There's the White House counsel's office. You've got Barr. You've got the other members of the Justice Department saying, you know, there's no there. You don't have any evidence.
So I just want you to explain the distinction so people understand this. Mike Lee, from the beginning, was calling on the state legislatures.
Didn't Mike Meadows get caught using a fake address in North Carolina while living in Virginia? I'm pretty sure it's him. Yeah, like literal voter fraud. I'll dig that up in the background, because that's pretty funny. I'm surprised I haven't covered that. But yeah, he's not only is at the center of this January 6th, like getting a bunch of texts, sending a bunch of texts, Ginny Thomas, Mike Lee, that other character, Chip Roy. Chip, his name's Chip. He's at the same time doing the fraud, like the thing that he's organizing the entire coup d'etat over, he's also committing, like, woo!
You know, around the country to submit alternate slates of electors, different slates of electors, calling on the legislatures to do so. How is that different than this scheme that was being cooked up within Trump world to just submit different electors?
It wasn't. It's really the same thing, although I think Mike Lee pulled back when he realized that, you know, I mean, there was no legal basis in the first place, but there was no factual basis for these legislatures to conclude that the election did not go the way it went.
Facts don't care about your feelings, basically, is what Conway is saying. So yeah, this is the Mark Meadows bit. He was removed from the North Carolina voter roll amid fraud inquiry. So we don't know he committed it, but there's evidence to suggest strongly enough that he was removed from the voter roll. State is investigating whether Trump's ex-chief of staff committed fraud by registering to vote at residence he never owned or lived in. Uh-oh, stinky, whoopsie-doopsie. Donald Trump's last White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Oh wait, we definitely need some goofy music. Donald Trump's last White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows, has been removed from the electoral roll in North Carolina amid a criminal inquiry into whether he committed election fraud by registering to vote at a residence he never owned or lived in. Melanie Thibault, director of the Macon County Board of Elections, confirmed her decision to the Asheville Citizen-Times, which reported that the registration for Meadows' wife, Deborah, remained active. Before working for Trump, Meadows was a congressman from North Carolina, according to The New Yorker, which reported the story last month, so The New Yorker got the scoop. Meadows registered as his address a rented mobile home in Scaly Mountain, which he reportedly had never visited. I wonder why he never visited his mobile home in Scaly Mountain. Do we have a picture of it? The house Mark Meadows' wife rented. Brilliant. I wonder why Meadows has never lived there. That's friggin' hilarious. Oh my goodness. It's great. Look, the satellite dish is even rusted out. Brutal. This is depressing. Very, and there's like, oh my god. Da, da, da. This music's ridiculous. Okay, all right, let's listen to Liz Cheney. She is the Republican who actually had principles and stuck to them even after she was kicked out of the party and remains part of the January 6th committee. Liz Cheney, everybody. That's right. Dick Cheney's daughter actually has some level of political integrity. This music makes sense. This is Hell World.
There are many ways that one can fight to protect democracy. Let's turn from the military way it's being fought here to the efforts to protect democracy in the United States. You're the vice chair of the January 6th committee. The New York Times reporting this morning that your committee has concluded that you have enough evidence to make a criminal referral for President Trump to the Justice Department for obstructing an official proceeding and for conspiracy to defraud the United States. Is that true? Do you have...
Yeah, Spawn of Satan is the voice of reason. Yeah, basically.
Have enough evidence to refer Trump for criminal charges?
Oh, Dick Cheney.
Well, we have not made a decision about referrals on the committee. I think that it is absolutely the case. It's absolutely clear that what President Trump was doing, what a number of people around him were doing, that they knew it was unlawful. They did it anyway. I think you certainly saw that in the decision that was issued by Judge Carter a few weeks ago, where he concluded that it was more likely than not that the President of the United States was engaged in criminal activity. I think what we have seen is a massive and well-organized and well-planned effort that used multiple tools to try to overturn an election. You've seen just in the last few days a plea agreement from one of the leaders of the Proud Boys, which lays out in really chilling detail the extent to which violence was planned, the extent...
That's actually massive news because from what I understand, he was it Enrique, like one of the leaders or one of the previous leaders who basically flipped, and we don't know how hard he flipped, but if he flipped hard enough, he's going to be giving up names and methods, and that will spill out to a bunch of new indictments and will hopefully scuttle the movement. Reminder that Proud Boys are considered a terrorist organization in Canada.
To which the message that went out on December 19th about the planning, about the rally in Washington, and don't forget, Donald Trump tweeted out that message, be there, be wild.
And recently was like, I would have marched on the Capitol, but Secret Service held me back. Ginny Thomas is like, yeah, I got cold. This is why I left. These are the this is what they're going with.
That the day after that message, the organization and the planning started, and that they understood, that they knew that they were going to attempt to use violence to try to stop the transfer of power. That is the definition of an insurrection, and it is absolutely chilling.
And just to be clear, you've seen this evidence and you believe President Trump committed these two crimes?
What I've just quoted to you is a public document. It is the plea agreement in the Donahoe case. Everybody can look at it. I would highly recommend everybody does look at it. It's the statement of offense in that plea agreement. The committee has obviously been focused very much, has got a tremendous amount of testimony and documents that I think very, very clearly demonstrate the extent of the planning and the organization and the objective, and the objective was absolutely to try to stop the count of electoral votes, to try to interfere with that official proceeding, and it's absolutely clear that they knew what they were doing was wrong, they knew that it was unlawful, and they did it anyway.
Cool. That's not the best thing you can... Yeah, not a very good thing. Could have come up with a better name for their stupid club. Proud Boys is just lazy. I think if you dig into it, it's like even dumber than that. Like, origins of the Proud Boys name? It's like really silly. Origin... Let's see. The group originated in the far-right Takis magazine in 2016 from Vice Media co-founder Gavin McInnes. That guy, he actually grew up in Montreal, taking its name from the song Proud of Your Boy from the 2011 Disney musical Aladdin. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Proud of Your Boy. This song, can we not see the... Oh no, of course not. It's Disney, so we'll watch like 5 seconds of it.
Kid, some son, some pride.
Okay.
Finally make you proud of your boy.
I couldn't have picked a better spot. So there you go. That's Proud Boys Domestic. Is it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Proud Boys named terrorist entity in Canada. Wowee. Canada added 3 right-wing groups to its list of terrorist entities, including the Proud Boys. The designation highlights Canada's different approach to confronting domestic far-right groups. Yeah. These guys.
Heart, make finally make you proud of your boy.
I mean, this dude obviously has an incredible voice. But there you go, everybody. See, I added the educational tag in the Twitch because we learn things about how stupid our world is, how insanely ridiculous everything has become. Like, for instance, in Florida, the education department rejects math textbooks, saying some had critical race theory. That's right. Do you think they all sing that song together? No, they have like there's I think a black journalist who did a really good write-up on it, and he sort of like explained how do you say it, like when you bring someone into your group, the enlistment process or whatever, the hazing procedure, and like one of them is like they have to name 5 breakfast cereals while getting punched. It's like really dumb stuff like that. They have to stop masturbating, like really weird, really unusual, like bro-y, like frat house stuff, and then it just kind of escalates once you're in it, I guess. Like it's just like a hodgepodge of like weirdos and strangers. Meanwhile, in Florida, math is racist against white people, I think, is what the education department is saying. I don't even know. Even math textbooks can't measure up to Florida's strict new education standards. The Florida Department of Education says it has found that many math textbooks submitted by publishers contained, quote, prohibited topics, such as references to critical race theory, the legal framework taught only in graduate school and college-level law courses. That's right, everybody. They are teaching the CRT to our kids through the math. You heard it here first. Out of 132 submitted textbooks, of course, we're on the Sun Sentinel. Out of 132 submitted textbooks, the Education Department approved only 78 of them and rejected more than ever before. According to a news release, it rejected 54, including several it said had critical race theory and other prohibited subjects. Quote, reasons for rejecting textbooks included references to critical race theory, inclusions of Common Core, and the unsolicited addition of social emotional learning in mathematics, the state's news release stated. Quote, the highest numbers of books rejected were for grade levels K-5, where an alarming 71%... Oh, I don't even know who's talking right now. I shouldn't be doing the voice. The highest number of books rejected were for grade levels K-5, where an alarming 71% were not appropriately aligned with Florida standards or included prohibited topics. Yo, they coming for our kindergartners, everybody. They's coming for... Remember when that conversation we had about, like, how all the accusations that Republicans are throwing around, especially towards LGBTQ community and like groomers and stuff like that, is like just to set up dehumanization of the political other, of like the people they don't like. Well, this is the same thing. There's a reason it's K-5. It's because it's for the children, everybody. We're trying to save the kids. Gotta save the kids. The education department didn't provide an example of critical race theory in the rejected textbooks, instead sending a list of 2 documents that did not contain specific examples. And I really want to see this document, if we can pull it up. Critical race theory, first proposed by legal scholars, says racism is embedded in the country's institutions. Historically, the theory has been a law or graduate school subject and not one taught in public schools. My only interaction with CRT was when I took a class called Intro to Sexual Diversities. We touched on it. It's like, this is a thing that exists. If you're interested in it, go check it out yourself. But it's not like, you know, and that was in university. That was a university level course. And it was one of the hardest courses I ever took. And it was sort of like, oh, by the way, if you're like a real nerd, here's some more stuff to nerd out on. And like, these people are like, it's in our math textbooks for our children. But DeSantis, or Death Santis, as some have called him, and other Republicans rallying against it, say its tenets have seeped into K-12 classrooms with the aim to make white children feel guilty and to teach children to hate the United States through the mathematics. Logic. Facts and logic, everybody. And in this chart, and as you can see, white plus history equals racism, everybody. Math. The education department said it proactively informed publishers last summer that textbooks must align with the state's new standards. Quote, it is unfortunate that several publishers, especially at the elementary school grade levels, have ignored this clear communication and have attempted to slip rebranded instructional materials based on Common Core standards into Florida's classrooms, while others have included prohibited and divisive concepts such as the tenets of CRT. you know, the things that CRT is about, or other unsolicited strategies of indoctrination, despite FOE's prior notification. Amazing. So much work is being done by this single word, tenets. Holy shit. CRT is clearly living rent-free in their head because, and anyways, it's not tenants, it's tenets, isn't it? Wait. Did they do the wrong word? Yeah, it's tenets, not tenants. Oh, I'm such a fucking nerd. Oh my god. Yeah, tenants are people who live in a building that you rent. I'm a tenant because I rent this space, but tenets are what you hold to be true, a principle or belief. Holy fucking Christ, these people are so goddamn dumb. They're not even able to point at the beliefs of CRT. This is way worse than I thought. Oh god. Oh no. DeSantis has stressed the importance of teaching students basic subjects in school while defending controversial bills such as the Stop Woke Act and parental rights in education, which critics nicknamed the Don't Say Gay or Trans bill. I quote, at the end of the day, my goal is to educate kids on the subjects, math, reading, science, all the things that are so important, DeSantis said at a recent news conference, adding that he doesn't want schools to be a playground for ideological disputes such as the existence of transgender people. This thing the medical community is pretty solid on. Pretty like, hey guys, this is a thing. It's been going on for decades. You guys gonna listen? Okay. The Department of Education is, quote, heading in a direction where the state's move troubled Broward School Board member Sarah Leonardi, a frequent critic of the DeSantis administration. The Department of Education is, quote, heading in a direction where if any text is inclusive of the diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds that make up our state, they're considering it indoctrination and CRT. So we finally get to the answer. What is this all about? It's just racism. It's just obviously just racism. She's like, anything that's like inclusive, like it's like Anthony had 5 apples and he gave Jamal 3 apples. CRT, like Jesus. Quote, it's disturbing, borderline authoritarian, and definitely censorship, she said. Notably, it denies the existence of much of our student population. If state leadership made decisions with children in mind, they wouldn't be engaging in these fallacious culture wars at all. What a good use of the word fallacious. And isn't it interesting that the free speech warriors are nowhere to be found? Literally censorship. Literally the definition of censorship. A government body making up this weird law that nobody really understands and is completely vague, and it's all based on the tenants of CRT, you know, the people who live in the house down the block that has CRT, you know, just like this frat house. Like, what the fuck is going on here? These are the people who have power. It's very, very scary. Very bad good. Very, very bad. So there's this and this that's next. So a lot of people, I mean, even just given what we've covered in public news, people are asking, why hasn't the Justice Department charged Mark Meadows with contempt? This is Lawfare blog. It's a pretty solid source. Usually tends to be a bit long, so I'll only read like the first couple bits. The memo of some teachers in Florida sent out was great, fighting the new law by following it. Yeah, wasn't this like malicious compliance or something? Memo teachers, Florida, don't say gay. It was in response to the don't say gay thing, right? Yeah, there it is. A teacher in Palm Beach County, Florida, shared this template with us. It is being shared among teachers to use for grades K to 3. How do you feel about this? What we do when this arrives? Moms for Liberty, amazing. Dear Florida parent caretaker, the Florida House of Representatives has recently ruled that, quote, classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students. To be in accordance with this policy, I will no longer be referring to your student with gendered pronouns. All students will be referred to as they or them. I will no longer use a gendered title, such as Mr. or Mrs., or make any references to my husband/wife in the classroom. From now on, I will be using the gendered title mix. Or mix. It might be a sound because it's an X. No, that's an exclamation point, right? So yeah, mix. Furthermore, I will be removing all books or instructions which refer to a person being a mother, a father, a husband, or wife, as these are gender identities that also may allude to sexual orientation. Needless to say, all books which refer to a character as he or she will also be removed from the classroom. If you have any concerns about this policy, please feel free to contact your local congressperson. Thank you, Mix XXXXXX. It's amazing. It's so good. It's so friggin' funny. It's the definition of a lib. Like, this is what the liberal revolution looks like, everybody. Malicious compliance. This is an opinion piece from the Miami Herald. This is one of those like local, like city, like a relatively small paper, like for print journalism. It's from the city of Miami, Florida, and it regularly puts out jaw-dropping pieces, gets scoops. Like, they've got a really good team there. So I'll always read anything from the Miami Herald, and even an opinion piece. Why do I blame the Republican Party? Because the Republican Party is to blame. Oh, we can listen to it? Nice.
Why do I blame the Republican Party? Because the Republican...
Oh, but it's a robot voice. That's cool. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. James Baldwin, who is a great black poet and author, writer from America, really eloquent on subjects of race. They got Epstein? Oh, wow. Okay, that's why I remember them. Yeah. Here's what we're not going to do. We are not going to indulge the lazy rationalizations, false equivalents, cheap gaslighting, and other forms of rhetorical chicanery that have become so common to political discourse in this era. Our country is in crisis and we owe it better. The warning is for those who claim defense at the following observation, made in the space a few days back. Quote, What Americans have lost, to be painfully accurate, what Republicans have trashed in pursuit of power is the willingness and ability to share a common national identity. This is yeah, it would seem to be a self-evident truth, but not everyone agrees. Like here, that common national identity, I think, like the term going around, like even 6 years ago, was that America was locked in a cold civil war, that there was brewing an inability to even agree that this person deserves to have real political power. And that's come true at this point. Republicans have given up on this idea of a common national identity. One of the clearest examples of this is the RNC leaves the Presidential Debate Commission or something like that. Yeah, this is big news. The Republicans say they're quitting the biased commission on presidential debates. So there's been a commission since 1987 to host and do like debates, and Republicans are leaving it, which is damning, ending more than 3 decades of bipartisan civic cooperation. This is a massive red flag. Quote, constantly blaming Republicans, griped one respondent. You only blame the Republicans, complained another. You exclusively blame Republicans, grumbled yet another. Well, there's a reason the Republicans get the blame for destroying any common American narrative. It's because, pay close attention here, they deserve the blame for destroying any sense of common American narrative. Sorry, but Hunter Biden's laptop didn't do that. Black Lives Matter didn't do that. Whatever thing Fox News last told its audience to fear did not do that. The Republican Party did it by a campaign of demonizing dissent, shredding norms and boundaries, embracing a politics of white resentment and fear, and, perhaps most corrosively, delegitimizing the very idea of knowable fact. Remember that Jean-Paul Sartre quote that I kept going on about? This is it, right here. So that an ordinary birth certificate becomes an object of suspicion, an ordinary election a seedbed of distrust, and the sacking of the U.S. Capitol an innocent visit by tourists. They say the debate moderators were biased even when Fox News hosted. I mean, the thing that's crazy to watch with the Republicans, and same thing's happening in Canada, there's very much like a mirror effect happening, where the conservative movement is splitting between the radicals and the normies, and the normie, like, conservatives don't really know how to deal with this. Like, they're unable to tamp down on the crazy part of their party. And yeah, the radicals are taking over. It's a really bad sign. Is it mere partisanship to hold the party accountable for this? Or are we not talking about something bigger and more foundational than political gamesmanship? Note how many of the GOP's ardent defenders, George Will, Representative Adam Kinzinger, Kathleen Parker, Liz Cheney, Senator Mitt Romney, Jonah Goldberg, have become to various degrees estranged from it in recent years. None of those worthies may be credibly accused of being anti-Republican, but what they are is conscientious enough that they cannot deny self-evident truth when it is right before them. Some of us prefer to peddle misguided both-sidesism, to spew non-responsive non-sequiturs, or stick metaphorical fingers in metaphorical ears going la 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 until the truth safely passes them by. Meantime, one party steers the ship of state toward jagged rocks. Political scientist Thomas Mann and Norman Ornstein once observed that, quote, the Republican Party has become an insurgent outlier, ideologically extreme, contemptuous of the inherited social and economic political policy regime, scornful of compromise, unpersuaded by conventional understanding of facts, evidence, and science, and dismissive of the legitimacy of its political opposition. They wrote that in a 2012 book called It's Even Worse Than It Looks. 10 years later, it's even worse than that. It's important to be clear on that, not to blame the GOP, but because James Baldwin was right. You cannot fix what you will not face. And what America needs to face is the simple, chilling fact that the Republican Party is a clear and present danger. Confronting that does not make you a partisan, it makes you a patriot. Full send. Full fucking send. Let's go. Yeah, honestly, Romney care, like the arc of Democrats being pulled to the right and sort of like adopting Romney Care as the American Care Act, as the Health Care Act, is incredible. And now even Mitt Romney has been ousted. The dude behind Bain Capital, who's like sucked up all those little small businesses and is like a vulture capitalist fund. Oof, not a good person. But hey, that's America. That's the plot. That's the plot against America. It's thickening. It's getting increasingly spicy and hot and dangerous. The cold civil war is going to start flaring up very, very, very soon. Within the next couple months, I wouldn't be surprised if there is going to be like actual political violence on some measurable scale, especially as the summer comes around and that heat gets people riled up, because that has a big effect, or at least some amount of an effect. Yeah, things are going to pop off. I don't see how it could go otherwise when Republicans are accusing Democrats of like everything under the sun, all the worst stuff. So yeah, that's that. We're moving on to Russia and Ukraine. We won't spend too long on this, just checking up on the news, some interesting things that happened. We're going to jump into some Canadian stuff because some of it's kind of funny, some of it's kind of interesting. And then we got some like weird, some weird mystery, a weird mystery doc from PaymoneyWubby. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. So the Russian... Oh wait, there's also this story. I think we've covered this already pretty much to death, so there's no need to check it out. Yeah, so a Russian crowd mourns a Black Sea flagship after sinking. So this really big, important flagship sunk. I heard stories, I don't know if it's true, that like a fragment of like some ancient crucifix relic was on this thing and it sunk with it. Like I don't know if that's true or not, but apparently dozens of people gathered in the Crimean city of Sevastopol on Friday to mourn the sinking of the flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, a symbol the crowd heard of hope, revival, and power until its demise. It was the flagship. That's crazy. Some embraced and others laid flowers in memory of the Moskva missile cruiser at a monument to the 1696 foundation of the Russian Navy in the center of Sevastopol, headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet. That's pretty intense, actually. Moscow, which annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, said the ship sank while being towed in stormy seas after a fire caused by an ammunition explosion. Ukraine said one of its missiles had caused it to sink. Which one of these two stories is true? Reuters was unable to verify the exact circumstances of the ship's demise. Why not both? Why not a missile did hit it, it caused a fire, it blew up an ammunition thing, caused a fire, and they tried to tow it away and it sank. I don't know. Maybe both things are true. I don't know. You can never really tell in war. Quote, even for those who have not been on it, the Moskva was a symbol for everyone, a symbol of our power, of our hope, of the revival of the fleet in the 1990s, following the collapse of the Soviet Union, said Reserve Captain Sergei Gorbachev, who spoke to the crowd in his naval uniform. Quote, there will be victories, there will be tragedies, but the memory remains, Gorbachev said. The crowd, which included a number of people who served on the ship, stood in respectful silence. Some wore this ribbon of St. George, a symbol of the Russian military. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, all right. So Russia lost its flagship in the Black Sea, apparently. Hindustan Times, Russia hits a Kyiv missile factory after flagship sunk. The Vizar plant near the capital's international airport was seriously damaged in the overnight strikes, an AFP journalist saw. So according to AFP, Russia pounded a Ukrainian rocket factory after losing an iconic warship, as the Pentagon on Friday backed Kyiv's claim to have sunk the Moskva with cruise missiles. So the U.S. is supporting Ukraine's claim. Big shock there. The Vizar plant near the capital's international airport was seriously damaged. Russia said it had used sea-based long-range missiles to hit the factory, which Ukraine's state weapons manufacturer says produced Neptune cruise missiles. Crazy. Oh, this quote, there were 5 hits. My employee was in the office and got thrown off his feet by the blast. Andrei Sizov, a 47-year-old owner of a nearby wood workshop, told AFP, quote, they are making us pay for destroying the Moskva, he said. It was the first major Russian strike around the Ukrainian capital in over 2 weeks. So yeah, it sounds like we got upset. That's not a good situation. According to Washington Post, we're not going to read all this, just glancing at it. Ukraine is scanning faces of dead Russians, then contacting the mothers, apparently. Ukrainian officials have run more than 8,600 facial recognition searches on dead or captured Russian soldiers in the 50 days since Moscow's invasion began, using the scans to identify bodies and contact hundreds of their families in what may be one of the most gruesome applications of the technology to date. Yo, this is some like modern warfare shit. Holy fuck. The country's IT army, a volunteer force of hackers and activists that takes its direction from the Ukrainian government, says it has used those identifications to inform the families of the deaths of 582 Russians, including by sending them photos. The Ukrainians championed the use of face scanning software from the US tech firm Clearview AI as a brutal but effective way to stir up dissent inside Russia, discourage other fighters, and hasten an end to a devastating war. I'm just going to put on some background music. But some military and technology analysts worry that the strategy could backfire, inflaming anger over a shock campaign directed at mothers who may be thousands of miles from the drivers of the Kremlin's war machine. The West's solidarity with Ukraine makes it tempting to support such a radical act designed to capitalize on family grief, said Stephanie Hare, a surveillance researcher in London. But contacting soldiers' parents, she said, is, quote, classic psychological warfare, and could set a dangerous new standard for future conflicts. Quote, if it were Russian soldiers doing this with Ukrainian mothers, we might say, oh my god, that's barbaric, she said. And is it actually working? Or is it making them say, look at these lawless, cruel Ukrainians doing this to our boys? Okay. Ukrainian, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think this is a good strategy? Like one way to look at it is, if you're fighting against someone who's deeply immoral, who's doing lots of really bad shit, then you have more latitude to do bad shit. Like, I'm sure some people would support that. And then others would be like, no, there are certain moral hard red lines that you don't cross, because once you cross them, then it's easier to cross them later, and then all of a sudden war becomes this deeply chaotic immoral mess. Oh wait, that's war. It's always deeply immoral. Zelensky has effectively shown the world what Russia's war has meant for Ukraine, but inside Russia the story is different. Clearview AI's chief executive Hon Tontat told the Washington Post that more than 340 officials across 5 Ukrainian government agencies now can use its tool to run facial recognition searches whenever they want, free of charge. Wow. I mean, for Clearview, they benefit because they get a bunch of scans of it's just free data. They're like, yeah, give me that data. Fuck. Clearview employees, oh wait, let me pop this up, actually. There we go. Clearview employees now hold weekly, sometimes daily training calls over Zoom with new police and military officials looking to gain access. Tontat recounted several oh wow moments as the Ukrainians witnessed how much data, including family photos, social media posts, and relationship data details they could gather from a single scan. Oh my god. Oh my god. Some of them are using Clearview's mobile app to scan faces while on the battlefield, he said. Yeah, wow, okay, alright. Others have logged in for training while stationed at a checkpoint or out on patrol, the night sky visible behind their faces. Quote, they're so enthusiastic, Tontat said. Their energy is really high. They say they're going to win every call. The company, Tontat said, first offered its services last month to Ukraine's Ministry of Defense after he saw Russian propaganda claiming that soldiers captured there were actors or frauds. The system had primarily been used by police officers and federal investigators in the United States. Oh, remember that, everybody? That massive scandal that popped off like 100,000 years ago? Or was it 6? I don't know. I think we've crossed the line. everybody. So yeah, police officers and federal cops in the US of A were trying to see whether a photo of a suspect or witness matched any others in their database of 20 billion images taken from social media and the public internet. And if that didn't work, sometimes they go after your DNA and just like go ask the people collecting massive amounts of DNA data. It's like, hey. But about 10% of the database has come from Russia's biggest social network, VKontakte, also known as VK, making it a potential useful tool for battlefield scans, Tantat said. Clearview shared with the Post emails from 3 Ukrainian agencies, the National Police, the Defense Ministry, and a third agency that asked the company to remain confidential, confirming the software was in use. Okay, so yeah, this is the story. Isn't that crazy? It's pretty wild, eh? Like it's pretty out there, everybody. I've certainly never heard or seen anything like this before. It's pretty wild to me. Moving on. This is big news. This is from Axios. Finland is highly likely to join NATO, its Europe minister says. That's big because the NATO's right on the doorstep of Russia, which ostensibly was the whole point of they're like, hey, NATO's encroaching on us. So we got to do the war, and now one of the major results of that is that now NATO expands to be on their doorstep. Okay, all right. Oh, jeez. I'm just gonna give this a refresh. Finland, which shares an 830-mile border with Russia, is, quote, highly likely to join NATO, despite the Russian government's threats to deploy nuclear weapons. Finnish Minister for European Affairs Tytti Tuppurainen said in an interview with Sky News Friday. Why it matters? Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine has galvanized Sweden and Finland, 2 historically neutral countries, into joining the defensive alliance. Russia is threatening to bolster its defenses in the Baltic, including deploying nuclear weapons to the region as retaliation. Putin is the dog who caught the car? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, let's not count them out yet. I mean, by all means, he might turn this from a special military operation to a full-fledged war, and then things are really gonna pop off. Like I'm still not totally convinced Ukraine's gonna win this. Russia is the big bad bear for a reason. It's a massive country. What she's saying, the people of Finland, they seem, I mean, I'm rooting for Ukraine, don't get me wrong. What she's saying, the people of Finland, they seem to have already made up their mind. Tuppurainen told Sky News, noting that polls show overwhelming support for joining NATO. Quote, we need to discuss this issue thoroughly in our parliament. At this point, I would say it is highly likely, but a decision not yet made. Brutal war in Ukraine, that is a wake-up call to us all, she added, not only to us Finns, it has to do with the whole security border in Europe. What to watch, the Finnish government is expected to submit a report to parliament on the changed security environment by the end of this month, kicking off a debate and eventually a recommendation on applying for NATO membership, Axios' Zach Basu writes. Okay, so by the end of April, there should be news as to whether the Finns are actually going to move forward or not. We'll start to get some like indications. Okay. In some Canadian news, we're gonna skip over the Canadian news pretty quick. It's not that crazy, but there's a story in Canada of Canadian police, or Calgary, I think that's Calgary Police Services. These officers have been given until further notice to remove the thin blue line from their uniforms. There's been like a big sort of like controversy or sort of like argument going on between the police services and like, I guess, normal people. Conversations between the police service and the police commission will continue around the commission's directive to remove the thin blue line from police uniforms. So yeah, the commission that oversees police are like, yo, you need to follow the rules and stop modifying your uniform. And they're like, no, we stand by this thing, which is not a good symbol. This is a very dangerous symbol. Calgary officials continuing to wear the thin blue line patch will not be reprimanded until further notice. No, it looks like the police won. Look at that, big surprise. Police service issued a statement saying officers still displaying the symbol will not face disciplinary action while conversations continue with the Calgary Police Commission over that body's directive to remove the symbol from uniforms. What conversation? They told you to remove it. CPC said the directive had been met with varying reactions across the service. Quote, while it is acknowledged that CPC has provided lawful direction to the service. Oh, okay. So so what's the problem here? Further discussion by all stakeholders must take place to address the immediacy of the direction. They're taking off a fucking patch. This is wild. Police who don't submit to civil authorities? What do you call them? What do you call those people who don't submit to civil authority? And they all wear uniforms and they carry guns. What do you call those people? Do you call them police? Because I don't know. Starting to question it. Starting to make me wonder who's in control here. This is a fucking patch, everybody. We're not asking them to like massively change policy here. The commission issued the directive in March, stating many people in the community view the thin blue line symbol in a negative way, probably because it has some ties to bad people. And it basically says like the police are the last line of defense before chaos. And it's like, no, you're not. You're normal civilians. You're doing a job. Chill the fuck out. Commission Chair Sean Cornett said at a recent meeting that many other police departments, including the RCMP, have banned it from their uniforms. The CPA initially said members would not comply with the order. Union President John Orr previously said the patch is worn by officers as a way of honoring officers killed in the line of duty, including Sergeant Andrew Harnett, who was killed while working on December 31st, 2020. Neufeld, who is ultimately responsible for enforcing the directive, said the original timeline of March 31st for officers to remove the patch was unrealistic. Fuck off. Citing underlying issues between CPS rank and file and the commission. Wow. So basically, we're not respected by the rank and file of the police. So our totally legal order that everyone agrees is lawful, we're gonna give them more time to sort of like kick the can down the road, even though everybody widely agrees that it's not a respectful symbol. You don't want to see this on your police officers. It means they don't think they're one of you. They think they're not civilians when they wear this shit. What do you think happens when police go around thinking they're not civilians? What do they think they are? Military? Gang? Like, what is this? What are you guys doing? This is like bullshit. Cut it out. Stop. In other news, a Montreal man, 34, was charged with inciting hatred in Ottawa last month. A Montreal man was charged Thursday with inciting hatred in a public space. And I thought this might be connected with the trucker convoy, but it's not. So we don't care. We're skipping on this. We're moving straight to this one because it's amazing. Liberals dismiss accusations they intend to slap a greed tax on pickup trucks. This so-called fee on trucks doesn't exist. Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault. Fucking wild, man. Absolutely wild. What will they come up with next? Like, what will the conservatives get upset about next? Like, what is the next lie they're gonna get all whipped up over? Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault said the Conservatives are lying about a secret government plan to add a green tax to pickup trucks. There have been several tweets from Tory MPs, the Conservative Party, and Alberta Premier Jason Kenney in recent days insisting the government is about to extend a federal green levy to pickups. Quote, this so-called fee on trucks does not exist, Guilbeault said Wednesday in a tweet responding to Conservative MP and leadership candidate Pierre Poilievre. It's fear-mongering, plain and simple, he said. Poilievre said in his tweet that the government is going to, quote, slap thousands in new taxes on anyone who buys a truck. He encouraged supporters to join his campaign to axe the truck tax. Jesus, they're going to make a flannel tax? There's a tax on plaid, everybody. Tax on plaid and Carhartt. It's the free air tax. We need to cut down trees to remind people of the value of oxygen. The Federal Conservative Party as a whole joined in with multiple tweets Thursday and Friday asking if Canadians could, quote, afford a $4,000 tax on your truck or SUV. The green levy being referred to already affects SUVs. In 2007, the Conservative government under Prime Minister Stephen Harper introduced what they called a, quote, green levy for gas guzzlers as part of a number of offerings for ensuring a cleaner, healthier environment. This is where we're at, everybody. conservatives are upset about a law that they passed years ago. What the fuck? A rebate for more fuel-efficient vehicles brought in at the same time only lasted 2 years, but the green levy is still in effect. So people are starting to feel the pain when the conservatives have sort of put in some candy so that people didn't notice, and then, you know, they're out of government and all of a sudden people are noticing during the, it's camouflage tax. That's exactly right, Kraus. It adds between 1 to 4K to cars, SUVs, and vans with higher than average fuel consumption when they are purchased or imported into Canada. So everything. Currently 60 models. So yeah, conservatives hurt themselves in confusion. Just wild. In other news, my mouse is broken. God damn it. In other news, Twitter adopts a poison pill measure that could thwart Elon Musk's takeover bid. This was a pretty interesting story. It looks like some real billionaire bullshit. This whole like hostile takeover. Let's watch and find out. I'm just gonna go to the washroom too, real quick. While this plays, I'm sure there's not going to be TOS on.
The board of Twitter is set to meet in a couple of hours to hold a discussion on Elon Musk's takeover bid. He's offering more than $40 billion to buy the company. He's offered $54 a share, $54.20 if you like. As you can see the price, it's actually down, down 1 and nearly 2% at 44. So it's a long way off. His offer is an 18% premium on Wednesday's closing price. Now, the shares are lower. They've been up all around the place over the course of the session. Remember, they did rise very sharply when Musk took his 10% stake in the company. Musk says that wasn't enough. The 10% doesn't allow him to do what he needs to do. He needs to take the company private to unlock its potential as a platform for free speech. Elon Musk elaborated a few hours ago. It was a TED conference in Canada.
Well, I think it's very important for there to be an inclusive arena for free speech where all, Twitter has become kind of the de facto town square. It's just really important that people have both the reality and the perception that they are able to speak freely within the bounds of the law.
Elon Musk speaking this afternoon. He's called his bid his best and final offer in the SEC filing, which could have ramifications in the future. Now, he says, this is from the SEC filing, it's a high price and your shareholders will love it, he tells the board. And he warns, if the deal doesn't work, I would need to consider my position as a shareholder. This is not a threat. It's simply not a good investment without the changes that need to be made. Brian Stelter is with me. Brian, well, I mean, he bought 9%. He tried to then get on the board, or he was invited onto the board. He obviously didn't like what he heard when he tried to do it, friends. What was that?
Right. There were several days of apparent discussions behind the scenes, and he came away dissatisfied by management, not having confidence in the current Twitter management. So he believes he can do it himself. And on stage at the TED conference today, he sounded like a man making plans to take over Twitter. He acted as if this is very real. He said this is about the, quote, future of civilization, not about making money. He said he has a backup plan if this initial offer doesn't work. However, investors don't seem to be buying it. I think there's a lot of folks who aren't sure whether to take him very seriously today, Richard. As you said, the stock actually now down from where it opened today. Investors don't seem to be buying up shares in anticipation of Musk paying $54.20 a share. And already we've heard from one large investor saying this undervalues the company. So over to the board of directors, we will see what they say. But the CEO will hold a meeting in 2 hours with employees. That'll be our next sign of what's going to happen here.
Yeah, what do you think?
When he says
you want Musk to buy Twitter, would you leave if he did?
Says he wants change. It couldn't become what he wanted. He wants this First Amendment, freedom of speech. Brian, what do you understand him to mean by that? I mean, anybody can put anything they like on Twitter.
Yes, and it may stay online. It probably will stay online, but there are some rules of the road. And Twitter's been under tremendous pressure from its users, as well as investors and shareholders and regulators and governments, to try to clean up some of the sewer that Twitter sometimes is. But here are Musk's ideas, right? He's been all over the place saying we should convert the headquarters into a homeless shelter. We should add an edit button. Well, that'd be nice. But he's had some wild ideas as well as
No, it wouldn't. An edit button would be ridiculous. It would be someone quote tweets you and then you edit it. Musk is an actor. This is all about restricting free speech. Yeah, I don't understand. The only way this makes sense is from like the conservative free speech, which is like, I'm tired of consequences for my shitty opinions. Like in Canada, we have hate speech laws. Like you would not survive. Like we're generally not like allowing people to, organize insurrections. Like that's not good. His SpaceX program is such a hoax. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to distrust Musk, especially like his Hyperloop thing. There's a really good, I think, Adam Something video that sort of tears down Elon Musk's Hyperloop. Is there any interest in like looking at the actual TED clip? The TED discussion out in Vancouver?
Realistic ideas. He has seemingly treated this as a game or a sport or just a way to pass the time. And then swinging it in today in a very serious way, hiring Morgan Stanley, sending the letter to SEC. He does seem to be in this for real, but he's talking about free speech the way that a high schooler does. This kind of very basic concept that, well, let's just create a public square, let anybody do anything.
Yeah.
That gets really complicated, thinking about local laws.
It's going to be great.
What the users actually want. What happens about harassment and crime on the platform. He doesn't seem to be considering any of that. So honestly, Richard, I think if he does take over Twitter, if he takes it private, if he runs Twitter, he's going to have a lot of education. He's going to learn a lot about the realities of content moderation. And frankly, I don't think he wants that education.
Jesus, the fucking condescension from CNN. God damn it. Oh my God. This is why we have Musks, by the way. This is why the conservatives like have outrage cultures, because sometimes libs are super annoying. Have you seen the search engines have all restricted contact? Google, Bing, Duck doesn't matter. Yeah, DuckDuckGo actually just recently removed. DuckDuckGo just got rid of a bunch of streaming sites, I think. Removed pirate sites. 42 pages max on Google. The real conspiracy theory. No, the censorship story right now is Florida. Like the Florida math book CRT thing we covered earlier this morning, where Florida is targeting school math textbooks over critical race theory objections. Like this is where are my free speech warriors? Where's Elon Musk on this? Like he should be all over this, but he's not, because it's not about free speech. It's about like, people made fun of my bad opinions and me breaking glass. Like what is that? The Elon Musk breaks unbreakable glass. Remember this, everybody?
Yeah. Sure? Yeah. Oh my fucking God. Well.
Oops.
Maybe that was a little too hard.
Oops.
Should we try the beer?
Oops.
Sorry? Okay. It didn't go through. So that's a plus side. Let's try the right.
Looks like it's going to go through.
Sure.
Oh.
Man, it didn't go through.
It didn't go through. So when someone's pelting... Oh my God. It's such a goofy looking car.
Room for improvement.
Jesus Christ.
All right, let's see. So, yeah. We did actually throw everything. We threw wrenches.
Did someone yell
We
SpaceX?
threw everything. We even literally threw the kitchen sink at the glass, and it didn't break. For some weird reason, it broke now. I don't know why. Yeah.
You threw the kitchen sink. Well, maybe you should try to throw the kitchen sink again instead of a big metal hard ball. The Tesla in space, he said. It looks so fake. It must be real. Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, what a dumb thing. So yeah, this is pretty crazy. The poison pill. Board of Directors has adopted a limited term shareholder rights plan called a poison pill. Basically, it preserves the right for Twitter shareholders other than Musk to acquire more shares of the company at a relatively inexpensive price, effectively diluting Musk's stake. The provision will be triggered if Musk or any other investor acquires more than 15% of the company's shares. Musk currently owns 9%. So they're doing it to wrest control after Musk's stunning acquisition offer, also known as a hostile takeover. If you've watched, Frig, what's that show? Succession? That's a really fun show. And there's a lot of like hostile takeovers. It's all like corporate speak and stuff. The poison pill, a corporate anti-takeover defense mechanism, won't necessarily stop Musk's bid in its tracks, but it could make buying the company more expensive or force Musk to the negotiating table with the board. The rights plan, yada yada yada. Okay, so yeah, I think you get the idea. Musk he's trying to glom it up. I'm not terribly interested in like that. It's like an hour long, the TED Talk. And he's really annoying to listen to. So if we're really struggling for content, maybe. This is a story about TikTok under U.S. government investigation over child, material, not good. Short video app accused of being perfect place for predators by the DHS. So maybe this is part of the propaganda campaign against TikTok. Or maybe TikTok is not doing a good job of sort of like reviewing its material. So yeah, that's not good. In other news, I wanted to get on TikTok and try to like figure out like a brand there. This is a terrible head segue. We'll come back to me being on TikTok. I'm sure there's a better way to bring it up. For now, on to the last segment, everybody. Mystery Meat, a search for the truth. This just uploaded from PaymoneyWubby, who is a content creator on YouTube and Twitch. He's an odd one, so buckle up. Also, if you haven't already, throw me a follow on Twitch. I stream politics, do some gaming. Should be doing some music streams more now that I have some space to think and relax. And yeah.
Trust me, I wouldn't come back unless I had something important to talk about. And boy, do I. This photo, this single disgusting photo of a kebab has haunted my friend group, my thoughts, my emotions for nearly 2 years. And in this video, I'm going to be taking you on a journey of where we started and where we are today. Let's start from the beginning. Wednesday, December 16th.
Trigger warning, meat. If you're vegan, this may not be for you.
2020. YouTuber Justin Wang tweets out a photo of a kebab that looks an awful lot like shit. I'm not sure if this is a turd or some kind of actual food I haven't seen yet. Bro, that's definitely a turd. Man's laid some boo-boo across a few veggies. People were confused. People were offended. It reminded me of the blue dress photo that went around the internet for a while. The longer I stared at it, the more it would become something else. At first glance, it kind of looks like shit, but when you really start staring at it, I've seen kebab that looks like that. This photo became a bit of a joke amongst my friends, where we would share it occasionally, a small argument would break out, and then it wouldn't go anywhere. I think our autism came together and we collectively decided we need to know once and for all if it's actually poo or if it's a kebab. Starting from the first place that I saw the photo was Justin Wang's Twitter, but it wasn't his photo. He was retweeting somebody else named Cray. Cray tweeted the photo originally in response to a post that read, "What's the worst food you've had at a football match?" Paired with a photo of a really long sausage. Cray responded to the tweet with a photo of the turd kebab and replied, "Stevenage away." All I had to do was get in contact with Cray, ask him if he took the photo, if he knew who took the photo, if it was his shit. And lucky for us, Cray's DMs were open, so I DM'd him right away. If Cray were to respond, I'm sure that would be the end of it. But unfortunately for us, he didn't.
Yeah, you caught
so
that
let
too,
me
eh?
explain something important here. When we find this photo reposted online, it's important to look at the date. The earlier the date, the more likely it's the original poster. So at this point, we have Justin Wang's tweet on December 16th and Cray's tweet from earlier that day.
It's like not a hard
Both of
science.
these were in December, but we knew we had to find something older. And that's when we found the 9gag post. The post was titled, "Name That Kebab, Cambodian Cuisine." The photo we found on 9gag was a big deal. If we could get in contact with the person who made the 9gag post, we wouldn't need Cray at all. Let me explain an unfortunate quirk of 9gag. When someone posts to 9gag, the username is hidden, which can lead to some strange and weird posts. One user remarked on the issue, "It used to list the OP under the post, but they removed it a while ago, it seems." So, although we found this post without a username, it was a dead end. So we went deeper. We believe to have found the first ever sighting of the turd kebab on the internet. Turkish Kebab House, a small, unassuming kebab shop located in Blackpool, United Kingdom. The first internet post of the turd kebab, as far as we can tell, appears to be on a Google review under the photo section of said Turkish Kebab House. We don't know the exact date it was posted, but we do know it was in March 2020, according to the review, which was 2 full months before the 9gag post and nearly a year before Cray's. Whoever took this photo knew what the photo was.
Right.
Lee R. We assume it's a he based on
This is like a pretty good data journalism. I know it's a really dumb topic, but so far I'm kind of learning stuff.
Name, and the profile photo is like a Shiba Doge meme. We don't know much of anything about Lee R. Google Reviews keeps their accounts and their users pretty anonymous for the most part. The only thing that we can see about Lee R are his other reviews that he's left. And he's left a lot of reviews. Prestige Carpet and Upholstery, fast and efficient. Big Woody Skateboard Shop, great selection. Ramp City Skate Park, awesome indoor skate park, my son loves it. London Gents Barber, always do a good job of me and my son's hair. This guy, from what I can tell, seems like a normal family man, not the kind of guy who would upload a giant turd and post it at a kebab shop. It seems vindictive. It seems crazy. It doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would take his kid to get a nice haircut and then go to the family-friendly skate park after. Maybe you could justify him doing it if he uploaded it from a different account, but this was posted from the same account he reviewed a child's haircut from. It's just not adding up. The way I look at it, there's two options here. Either Lee R uploaded a picture of his shit for some crazy reason, or Turkish Kebab House is serving kebabs that looks like actual human feces. There doesn't appear to be any way to contact Lee R from his Google review. The only other option at this point was to get somebody to order a kebab from the shop and compare it to the photo. And during the midst of a global pandemic, that seemed impossible. So I put out a tweet asking for anyone in the Blackpool area willing to help us with a project. And we got so many responses, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who hit me up. I eventually got in contact with a viewer named Squiggles on Discord.
This is way more entertaining than Elon Musk. Okay, good. Yeah, because he's so fucking dry and boring, man. So full of himself. I can't do it. I just can't. This is at least serious about something silly. They know it's stupid, but they're taking it serious, which makes it really funny. Rather than like, you know, someone who's serious, thinks they're being serious, but they're actually just being silly.
Her and her boyfriend got their cameras in hand, hidden mics attached, and drove from Bradford to Blackpool, which, if I'm not mistaken, is about an hour drive. To be completely transparent, I was a little nervous sending Squiggles to the kebab shop, given some of the reviews for the shop. So for starters, it has a 3.6. That's not good. I wouldn't eat somewhere with a 3.6.
I would not.
Tiger T said, the service here is terrible. Boo Grady Booth said, absolutely disgraceful. Rang to complain about a frozen cheesecake to have the phone put down on me, only to ring back to be verbally abused by the owner. I was nervous sending a viewer of mine, a fan of mine, into a kebab shop that seemed as hostile as this, but we needed answers. I don't think I was ready for them.
This is really silly. It's in a place called Blackpool. Yikes.
wanted to order something, but I'm not too sure what to get. I was wondering if you could help me. I was looking at some of the things, and then what's that one?
That one is chicken and donut.
Chicken and donut. And then that one as well.
Yeah, that one is chicken and donut as well. Yeah.
And then what about that one? What's that one?
Oh, it's not ours. Some people who doesn't like us.
They put that
put in
picture.
It's normally a shit.
That is actually a
Yeah.
shit, actually.
Who hates
Have
us?
a shit on
Put it
it.
on the Google, yeah.
Oh my, and you can't get rid of it at all.
No, I've tried it, but
No.
Not only did they know about the photo, but they believe it to be a fake review.
That's quite the turn of events. That makes a lot of sense. You go to a kebab place, you hate it, you're a bit racist maybe, you figure out a way to destroy their name.
They claimed they don't know how to take it down, and when they served kebabs, although they didn't really look that appetizing, they definitely didn't look like the photo of the turd kebab. What are you? What was so frustrating about this is
It should be
now
edited.
the only option is that
kebab for you.
Lior took a
Uploads it?
shit on a pita and uploaded it as a review. I guess there is a possibility that the kebab shop could be lying, but I'm not
I
really
don't
seeing
believe it.
what the motivation is.
Yeah.
Did they used to serve shitty kebabs? Giving up now doesn't give us the answer because there is still that
Jesus.
doubt. For
He wants to go
continuity, I'm
deeper.
going to move this. Shouts out to Squiggles and her boyfriend for going out there, spending a day with the turd kebab, and getting us one step closer to the truth. After the whole kebab shop, I felt lost. I felt confused.
Amazing.
I knew I wanted to take a step back and get some perspective and get an expert's opinion. So I reached out to a gastroenterologist to get their opinion on it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Carlton. I'm one of the gastroenterologists at Digestive Disease Associates.
Really?
I basically all day long look in people's bottoms to see
Stop.
if they've got colon cancer.
Stop.
I see a lot of poop all day
Stop.
long.
Dr. Carlton,
Stop.
hey. Dennis, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dennis.
What is poop? Oh god, it's so fucking stupid. What is poop? Oh no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready, Chad. I'm not fucking ready.
Poop is basically a mixture of a lot of materials left over from digestion from your GI tract. The thing that gives a stool its color is bilirubin, which comes from bile acids. So if you have a blockage of your bile duct, you might not have any stool color at all, and your stools will be pale colored like clay.
Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna get clapped for misinformation. We got a fucking doctor here.
But the
Wait, I missed that.
might not have any stool color at all, and your stools will be pale colored like clay. But
The eyebrows are to make his forehead
stool
bigger.
color at all, and your stools will be pale colored like clay. But
Clay?
the bilirubin is what gives it that brown color.
What kind of colors can poop come in for humans?
Absolutely.
I mean, I have a massive forehead, so I should be talking.
Runs a spectrum from pale, almost white when someone has a blockage of their bile duct, either by like a pancreatic cancer or a bile duct stone.
I mean, this dude's probably smarter than all of us combined, so yeah, I guess he is a 5-head.
To yellow from
Stop bullying, chat.
Diarrhea and excessive fatty.
We're trying to talk about a serious subject here, okay? Compose yourselves.
Undigestible fats that go through.
If we were to show you an image, do you think you'd be able to identify if it's poop or not?
If it's a recent poop, probably.
There's only one person. There's only one person in the world who's going to answer that question the way they wanted it, and it's a gastroenterologist. Every normal person's like, no, I don't want to look at that poop. Why? No thanks. It's cool. It's cool, buddy. It's cool, man. Yeah. Is it a recent poop?
I'm going to be able to identify if it's poop or not.
Hard to
If it's a
watch.
recent poop, probably.
I'm going to show you
It's like 2 decades old.
said image here.
It's a police car. Oh, the production value makes this so fucking dumb.
Here it is. This is the kebab.
Oh gosh.
While it certainly looks like poop, I have definitely seen kebab stuff that looks like that before, especially if it has any sort of grape leaf wrapping to it.
The darker color.
Oh, wow, that guy immediately showing more culinary knowledge than anyone ever. Oh, that makes sense. You know, you are what you eat. Gastroenterologist, fucking chef at home, eating good every night. He's like, oh yeah, oh man, I make incredible kebabs with banana leaf all the time.
Here, and the grooves going through it. Do those look like something that would come out of a human being?
Definitely could. It's potential. It's possibly poop. Yes.
If you had to pick a side, what do you think it is?
I think it's probably a kebab that looks like shit.
How? What a good laugh. This is such a. We're 10 minutes in. What more story could there be?
With all the current evidence, could a doctor, a gastroenterologist, look at this photo and believe it to be a kebab?
Yeah,
After
why
my
not?
conversation with Dr. Carlton, I don't know what this is a photo of. So I reached out to a kebab expert here in San Diego to try to get another opinion on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Find someone who makes kebabs with banana leaves who isn't a gastroenterologist.
Hi, my name is Mark Basabas. I'm the chef at Emerdine Restaurant. It's a family business, small little shop making authentic Lebanese cuisine.
Thanks. Dude, he just got himself a spot. 200,000 views. What an ad spot. Fucking brilliant. This is the most important thing right now by far. Yeah. The content for today. Plot against America thickens. War in fucking Ukraine, and then this bullshit. Oh my god.
For joining us. Thank you for agreeing to the interview. You said that this was a family-owned business. Did you grow up in the shop? Have you been around the shop your whole life?
Yeah, so actually my story is interesting. I come from the Mediterranean culture. You know, every single mom and dad wants you to become either a lawyer, engineer, or a doctor at some point. I studied neuroscience and physiology, and I got a degree in that, and I was supposed to be destined to medical school.
Sorry. Say that again. You did what now?
Yeah, so actually my story is interesting. I come from the Mediterranean
We must go deeper. We must find out the true story.
Culture, you know, every single mom and dad wants you to become either a lawyer, engineer, or a doctor at some point. I studied neuroscience and physiology, and I got a degree.
This is why you can't judge a book by its cover. You're like, yeah, man, just I had a conversation with my chef at my local kebab eatery, and he studied neuroscience. Jesus.
Degree in that, and I was supposed to be destined to medical school. Then I had an epiphany where I switched, did a 180 flip and broke my mother's heart and told her I'm going to culinary school up in Napa. Have a different perspective. Like I have the science background and the molecular background of what food is and what happens to it when you heat it and cool it and things like that.
Yeah,
we have a photo that we're trying to...
Kenji Lopez Alt turned that into a whole career. The food lab, you know, people are really digging that this whole like science meets cooking. I love it. It helps me understand like different processes. Sometimes you can't always rely on like inherited truths from our grandmothers or nonnas or babushkas. But yeah, he's got an interesting story. This is already off to a good start.
Identify the type of meat and the preparation style.
So when you say the meat, like the is it like lamb, chicken, beef, something like that?
I mean, I'll show you the photo and
okay,
then we
so
can go
sounds
from
good.
there.
What's his reaction?
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting. No. He's too smart.
I would. That is not kebab.
Yeah, the red flags are going off. His frontal lobe is fired off right now.
Well, okay. So the first instinct is this is definitely ground beef of some sort, I think. To be honest with you, if you give this, like to me, that doesn't look like meat. I mean, it doesn't look anything remotely similar to a kebab. I'm trying really hard to.
Well, you could be honest.
I am. I'm trying really hard to like see where it comes from, because like I know the food from all the cultures. If this is some sort of kafta or like ground beef skewer, not cubed meat, they did a really bad job about it. Usually when you skewer something, you want it to be
this is Photoshop.
all symmetrical so it cooks at the same time. So whatever this portion is way bigger than this side. Also, I'm having a tough time kind of like figuring out these grooves because when you cook meat,
Yeah, it doesn't
if
make
it's,
sense.
especially if it's ground,
He's trying to keep
those
composed.
grooves. Yeah.
It's not typical.
No. So this could, yeah, this is way too processed. Corners are pretty cut. Like the way we do our kafta, we don't use pre-ground beef. Like
That
we
doesn't
get
make
the
sense.
whole,
Yeah, of course.
lamb shoulder or beef
you
shoulder,
cube it
and then we fabricate it, remove the fat, grind it ourselves to the perfect
wow.
consistency, mix it with onions, spices.
Would we be able to see one?
He's promoting his. That was another ad, by the way, everybody. if you're in the area.
That
Yeah,
you guys
of
can
course.
produce?
Mark was not only kind enough to show us the kitchen and how their fresh kebabs are made, but he treated my entire crew to some of their delicious meals, and we're all really thankful for that. After we all ate, he had this to say regarding traditional Mediterranean cuisine.
Yeah, man, this man just spent like maybe $50 in food and just got himself like an ad spot worth easy 10 grand. How many Keurigs? What is a Keurig? How many Keurigs does it weigh?
People that are trying to open ethnic restaurants in the West and want to showcase
Ew.
the beautiful culture and cuisine that we
Stop.
have that stems back thousands
Stop.
of years is do it true to the culture and true to the cuisine and the recipes. Then
Looked it up.
it's an injustice to the food and the history of the food to kind of like toss it and just be like, hey, here, we're just selling you whatever.
Two experts in two completely different fields looked.
But they're both looking at it with an eyebrow raised. They're both like, the gastroenterologist is like, yeah, I don't know, man. Doesn't look like poop. Probably is kebab. And the kebab guy's like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's not a kebab. I ain't never seen a kebab like that before. So I'm leaning towards Photoshop, like some malicious troll on the internet. That's where my head's at.
At this photo and believed it to be a bad kebab. Who am I to challenge the opinion of a doctor and a kebab shop owner? All of my friends had exhausted all of their ideas, and we didn't have any more leads. We didn't know what else to do. And with that, the story went completely quiet.
This is where the video should have ended at 13, 14 minutes. We are halfway
Cray
through.
responds to my original DM. And not only does Cray respond to my original DM, but he's claiming that he is the one that took the photo. Here's where things get a little confusing, so pay attention. I'm going to go into detail.
And they dismissed him because his wasn't like the earliest upload, but that doesn't mean he isn't the author. He could have taken it. But then how did Lee? Oh,
I'm going to be reading these from my phone, so forgive me.
What?
Your Twitter is one of the first sightings of the turd. Would you be able to provide any info on where it came from? Yeah, of course, mate. What's my cut? I don't know if it was me being naive, but at the time, him asking me for money didn't really bother me. I was so
That
caught
bothers me immediately. I'm like, wait, what?
up in finally getting an answer to the story. I guess I didn't realize that him leading with asking for money is a little odd. So
It's a
I
bit of a red-
obliged. I said, yeah, we can discuss payment. You'd have to give me info I don't already have, though. Where's the photo from? Who took it? Is it a turd? Why was the photo taken? Okay, my mate shit on a salad in PETA in the pub toilets of Stevenage, and we claimed that they had provided it. No idea why. I took the pic of it, but it was funny as fuck. Cray is claiming his friend took a shit on a PETA at the Stevenage football arena. They took a photo of it, and they uploaded it as a joke. So in order to get some more proof, I asked him if he could send me a photo, a screenshot of the photo in his camera roll when the photo was taken. June 2nd, 2020. This was the first problem. We have that photo dated on Google Review, posted by Lee R in March of 2020. So after the date discrepancy, I decided to hit up the so-called PETA shitter himself, Cray's friend, Lewis. Looking at Lewis's profile picture, it was hard to believe that somebody this beautiful could produce something so disgusting. Regardless, I still messaged him asking
I think it's kebab. I think it's like a Photoshop kebab.
Him if he was the one who shit on the PETA. Do you know when the photo was taken originally? June 2nd, 2020. The same incorrect date that Cray had given us just moments before. I wanted to see if they would bring up the Google review before mentioning it, because that in my mind would prove something. The Google review wasn't necessarily easy to find. At the very least, somebody just trying to make a quick buck off me wouldn't mention it because they wouldn't know about it. And I kind of caught them in that way. I'll lay it all on the table. There's a Google review posted by somebody named Lee R. in March of 2020.
I love how he lays it on the table. He's so in need. Ronan Farrow. Who is the best? Can we get Jane Meyer on the case? Somebody's got to get to the bottom of this.
This is the first time the photo was seen online. If you can either prove that you're Lee R by either logging into the account, writing something, there are countless ways to easily and in under a minute prove that you're Lee R. Or provide a post, anything that predates March 2020, I'll pay you and your boy. Don't worry about it. Giving you loads of answers for nothing. Going to football now. Didn't think you'd be like this. It's only a shit. It's only a shit, Lewis. It's only a fucking shit. You're only a fucking shit. You wanna be amateur football player? You're never gonna fucking make it, dude. Keep chasing that dream. Keep fucking chasing it. And when I get to the bottom of this fucking shit, I'm gonna be sitting in my California mansion, and you're still gonna be going to the pitch in pouring rain, hoping for a sponsorship, Lewis. It's just a turd.
Wow.
It's more than a turd! Guys, let me ask you something. If I offered you $500, which was my current offer, $500 to log into your Google account and post a review, would you do it? Or be a dick for no reason, the internet now hates you, and you don't have $500. I can't think of a single reason, if this was the original poster of that photo, why they would not acknowledge the Lee R post at all. And that's the thing. I talked for a little while longer with these two. Not a single time did they acknowledge Lee R. Not at all. They weren't even like, I don't know who Lee R is. They weren't like, oh, I am Lee R. They gave no acknowledgement to it. And I found that very shady. These two guys could just be the dumbest human beings in the UK, and they could technically still be the origin of this photo. I offered them an opportunity to get on a voice call with me because I was thinking maybe there's a miscommunication going on here and maybe the dates were slightly wrong, maybe this, maybe that. They didn't even want to have the conversation with me. And if this video does come out and these guys...
The play didn't go, essentially, you know. All right, actually was thinking of closing down the YouTube stream. So if you want to keep watching, come on over to Twitch. I'm going to keep on hanging out over there. But say goodbye to the YouTubers, Twitch chatters. Bye, YouTube. Okay, au revoir.